Hi everyone and welcome to another pick a card reading. For today's subject we have another reading which isn't timeless. This reading takes a look at how events in the month of July may influence your life. And of course the subject itself isn't coincidental. We have an extremely wild and karmic energy, both because we are freshly out of the eclipse season, which means that this is the perfect opportunity for big things to karmically manifest and settle down or to rearrange. So the main theme of whatever has to play out in your life due to the eclipses, this is when things actually are gonna start happening. Of course, it isn't just July, this is a rather long process. For some people, it takes until the very end of the year until, everything, all the pieces of the puzzle fit into place. But because of the very strong Saturn, Uranus, and Mars D-square, July can be a really, really significant month. So this is why I chosen this specific topic. And of course, there is another reason, which is rather specific for me personally. I'm not sure that I will be able to produce many more pick a card or any kind of tarot readings. I'm not even sure if I can continue my channel because my living conditions became really, really bad, so I just need to make a move or somehow find a way out of the situation. And if that means like a full-time job, then basically that is what I have to do. It really, really doesn't depend on me. So just in case I won't be able to work anymore, this might be a really good inspiration or what to expect in the month of July. If I'll still have the opportunity, in the following week or weeks I might do a pick a card reading which takes a look at how events might play out the remaining of this year. But right now let's focus on today's subject. So like always, this is a general reading. So just take in what resonates and fits your own specific situation, or sometimes you have to rearrange my interpretation a little bit so it fits, and of course discard everything else which doesn't resonate. The instructions are simple as always. Just take a look at the 3 piles of cards for a few seconds or as long as you need to, and then choose the one which resonates with your intuitive senses the most. Timestamps for the interpretations can be found in the description of the video and also in the comment section below. With this being said, let's go into the reading and see what the month of July may look like depending on the number you have chosen. Hello everyone who has chosen the first pile. Your cards depicting the month of July are the Ten of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, the Emperor reversed, and the Devil. Now, I must admit that, this pile is a little bit bittersweet, so to speak, because all of these cards denote a very strong karmic energy, which do have to give solutions, which do have to settle certain things down. They do have to basically catapult you, guide you, and in some instances even push you forcefully from the back to a resolution, to a certain kind of stability, and not just material but also mental, emotional, and of course spiritual as well, because I do sense that this is what you urgently need in your life. But they do have an element of compromise, and on the other hand, the Emperor reversed, regardless of what other meanings it has, it always speaks about that this time things are not 100% under your control. So this is where you might not have any influence over the timing, you might not have any influence about the tools actually you can work with. This is where this is gonna be like totally on life's terms, on fate's terms, on your own karmic path and journey's terms. And even though this isn't bad whatsoever, because the end result is definitely the turning of the Wheel of Fortune, so the beginning of another cycle, and this new cycle has to start with stability. It is not the usual kind of karmic theme, or at least how it used to play out for you guys personally, where usually everything, every new chapter, every new cycle, every new beginning begins with, uncertainty, chaos, not really knowing what to do and just going with the flow and building on it. This is where it's actually the other way around. This is where it has to begin with stability, with something already built, stable, something really, really secure. And the theme of the cycle is not going to be what you're going to build, but rather what you're going to do with that which is already built, and your efforts. May they be intellectual, may they be tactical, for example, may they be due to, your life experience, diligence, wisdom, of what you can do and how you can do it to preserve the integrity, preserve the stability. Now, of course, this doesn't mean in a rigid way, but, to make sure that whatever values will contribute to this stability, to this integrity, you preserve them. It is the values, the inner structure that you need to preserve, not necessarily the outer one. But of course, ironically, those two are always in close correlation. When there is a very strong foundation inside, then usually that reflects outside. Now, first of all, this Ten of Pentacles, this represents your financial life, your material stability, but at the same time, as I said earlier, this is also a very strong psychological energy, where the stability doesn't mean the money in your account, your job, your career, how stable, fertile, how promising it is, but rather how it makes you feel, how found you feel within it, how much it resonates with the person who you are. So, this is kind of dual. It is also like material stability in its real sense, but at the same time it is also psychological stability. And what is very specific to this Ten of Coins is that you really, really have been working infinitely hard to have this in your life. And this is a very long-term work, maybe the past 10 or maybe past 12 years. And of course, it wasn't stable at all. It was extremely chaotic. It was up and downs. Naturally, you did have a lot of moments of glory, a lot of moments of triumph when you accomplished a lot of significant things for you personally, which made you feel valuable as a professional, as a person, regarding your hobbies, or whatever is very important for you in your life. And at the same time, this Ten of Coins usually has other people in it as well. For example, family, people who you love, people who you want to support, people who want to support you. So this is also like a familiar alliance. So it wasn't just up and down in your life, but also in the lives of those people who you really love, who you regard as family, or who one way or another are an active part of your life. Like, for example, if it's your career, your job, that very special colleague who is also a friend, well, of course, they're also included in this. This Ten of Pentacles represents that in the month of July, this area of your life, as I said, either finances, either your career and your job, your livelihood, or what your material stability possibly can mean, including home, house, yes, the bank account, the delicate balance between what you own and what you owe. For example, a mortgage or credit to banks, financial loan, etc. This is reaching a culmination. So regardless of how it is right now in this present moment, the karmic forces are going to act in that area of your life. And this represents a favorable karmic change and transformation, where what you have within you, so everything that you have built within yourself, so this is a very strong psychological energy. For example, what aspirations you had over the course of the past 10 years, what have you been working on, what is it that you sacrificed, what is it that You had to eliminate, what you had to transform, what didn't work, where you had to be, karmically disappointed, if this makes sense. Because, sometimes it does take the hand of faith to, totally shatter our beliefs and disappoint us in order to get us out of an ideal. It can also have to do with, for example, divorce, separation, where you just had to split up the material situation as well. Or it had to do with your family. Maybe someone in your family went through a very hard time and it affected you. Or maybe you went through an extremely tough time, and perhaps not necessarily material, maybe just psychologically, and someone who should have been there for you, someone who should have helped you, wasn't there. So that was also a big eye-opener, and that also reconfigured the karma in this area of life. What I'm actually trying to say here is that regardless of how this 10 of coins played out for you personally, because I do believe that a lot of you guys who chosen the first pile had very big downs, losses, instability, uncertainty. Sometimes you had to readapt your plans and everything suddenly, instantly, from one day to the next, which was really, really difficult. And yes, this part might have made you feel that it's so uncertain, it's so chaotic, and that life never ever reflects what you have within yourself. But at the same time, psychologically, spiritually, it was the other way around, because regardless of what happened, good or bad, losses or gains, or what you did, what you sacrificed, what you worked on, your inner structure became stronger and stronger and stronger, even though many times you didn't feel that. But with each step, and as I said, may that be something unpleasant or a success, it still consolidated your inner truth, who it is that you are, what kind of life are you comfortable living, and more importantly, it made it so very crystal clear to you, and this is without a shadow of a doubt. This is where it's clear mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, regardless of how you look at it, it is so very clear who it is, all those people who really don't belong in your life. And I do believe that that part, who is not meant to be there, is the most important element of this. Because basically fate showed you through pain, through hardship, through losses, through not allowing you to have what you want, that you may not share anything with certain people because they are really not part of your journey. And regardless, even if they're good intended people, they're just not a match for you. They would always hinder you. You would always feel used and misunderstood. So even if things were really difficult and you went through a lot of pain, maybe you're still going through that pain, the truth that you beheld was so very important, because there is no turning back. You will never ever resume those relationships. You will never ever trust those people. And more importantly for the future, you already know the archetype. You already know the setup. So you will never ever make the same mistakes in the future. And maybe that is the saving grace. But of course, everything has a very big price. Everything has like a cost, even from a karmic perspective, in order for you to get to the truth, to the core truth of not just who you are, but more importantly, everything that you are not and you cannot accept in your life, including people. Fate had to take a lot away from you, and sometimes it really felt like a fist fight where your opponent wasn't a person, it was fate herself. And it seemed so very cruel, but ultimately, maybe right now you already see the wisdom in it, that fate wasn't fighting you, she was fighting your idealism, your ideal. And I'm so very sorry to say this, but sometimes she actually fought your love. The purity of your love, the infinity of your love. And you might say, why would a divine force fight love out of all possible inner forces? Isn't love the biggest power in the universe? Well, it might be true, but we live in a very imperfect world, and if love would get you in a place of no return, into the bottomless pit, well then fate, in order to kind of save you, she has to take out her most cruel tactics, if this makes sense. But this is exactly where the wheel of fortune is finally showing up in your life. Fate is turning, you are disillusioned, you are no longer the naive person. And again, I'm so sorry to say this, love did disappoint you, but this is the best kind of disappointment, because it somehow aligned you back to physical reality, and it somehow determined you, at least on a soul level, to take your power back and to own that which you are, no longer giving it away freely. And perhaps out of all the complications that happened to you, this is the essence of everything. This was the nucleus of what and why things had to happen the way they did. For you to realize that you need to own yourself, your life, and everything in it, and not share it with those people who simply do not belong in your life because they are not a match. Those people, even if they're really, really good intended, well, they just simply have to find another, let's say you, symbolically speaking, someone of your archetype maybe, who resonates with who they are. But because you became aware of this is already illuminated by the light of your consciousness. This is exactly why the Wheel of Fortune can turn. And I'm not sure how and in which way, but it has to give you the stability, the groundedness, and the safe and sound, especially physically and material, future that you worked for and you deserve. But, because you're still a little bit idealistic, you still have a certain childlike naivety and innocence about you. That is why the Emperor is reversed. Fate cannot leave it in your hands, so to speak. Because perhaps, let's say you're not the best negotiator, you're not the best person who would serve their own interest, because you're so compassionate, because you're so in tune with your humanity, with your humanitarianism, with your compassion and empathy. That is why, in order to serve your best interest, fate just has to do this for you. So the Emperor reverse represents that the way you envisage it, the way you plan it, the way you will it, the way you think it's best, well, that's not how it's gonna play out. One way or another, you are going to be steered to a compromise, the devil of course, but that compromise is something that really, really serves you. This is where you will basically embody the position of the devil. The strings will be in your hands. You will be led and basically placed in the position of the puppeteer. A position which you dislike, a position which you never ever aimed for, a position which maybe due to your wounding, you might kind of despise a little bit. So very physically speaking, down to earth, the devil can mean a manager, the position of a manager, a leader, an investor, someone who has to order people around, someone who has to make the decision, someone who holds the power over other people. And even though you dislike it, this is the universe's, the divine's judgment. So basically, exactly because you are so pure and you have that naivety and compassion within you, and that is to stay, that is permanent. Nothing that you lived until now could actually touch those virtues inside of you. That is exactly why you are the most ideal kind of devil. Nothing can really corrupt you because of your idealism. So exactly in order for the universe to make you the emperor, to give you control, to give you influence, to give you power, in the month of July it has to take it away and just, quantumly, if this makes sense, do things for you so that you will have no choice but to accept it, take the compromise, accept that there are moments in life when you hold the power, when you have to pull the strings, when you have to accept advantages, when you have to accept being the favored one. And as I said, this is mostly materially or in a very human way. So this can be in a job, in a career, in finances, maybe a donation, a gift, someone giving you a massive help, or someone giving you like money, or perhaps even a source of money, a passive income, because, the devil, either they're attracted to you or they owe you, on a soul level, of course, or they want to be in a really, really good position, in a really good relation with you, and this is how they choose it, through money, gifts, and material resources, or power. Either way, not only will it really, really serve you, but it is actually something you can live with. It is something that is a natural part of life, and it is something that will advantage you in the long term. But, you are not the kind of person who could accept this if you'd see it for what it is. That is exactly why the universe is pulling this off, by taking away your control and your chance, your opportunity to say no to this. Maybe it will put you in such a, let's say, desperate situation that you will have no choice but to accept this and say yes. But this really, really shouldn't worry you, because fate, karma kind of owes you this. And because of the times that we live in, because of how the world is right now, there is no other option, there is no other chance, not even for the universe, to deliver this for you. This is the only way it can give you the fruits of your labor, that 10 of Pentacles. This is the only way it can make it right. And of course, it just cannot convince you that your own perception, that your own, let's say, methodology, or the way you will things to play out, the emperor, if you'd be in control, it is flawed, or basically it's still not serving your greatest good. That's why it won't be able to give way to your will, to your judgment, to your ruling, so to speak. So it will just do things for you. It will take you into a position which is truly beyond your expectation. And once you realize this, of course, immediately you're gonna be happy. You're gonna appreciate it. You're gonna be infinitely grateful that you, when you were on your throne as the emperor, you were stopped in your tracks. And what this can actually mean practically, well, if you suffer, let's say, if you suffered a divorce, and things are really, really not okay for you, neither materially, emotionally, in any way, shape, or form, and you just cannot find the right balance, maybe someone comes in your life who might not be that person who is infinitely loving and pure at heart, etc., who you dream about, but maybe it's a person with great material strength or influence, and is incredibly attracted to you and would just be capable to do anything to have you. And of course, there might be valid physical attraction between the two of you. The universe might say, that which you need also needs you, so work with it. If you're in control, if you always hold the upper hand, without you having to do anything in this sense, so that person will tell you straight to your face from the first second that You have the control. You do what you want. They are willing to do anything just to be in your presence. Well, that is the devil, but not really the devil in its darker sense, because the compromise is very, very straightforward, and all you need to do is say yes. Or let's say if you're looking for a job, if you are out of work and that is what's really affecting your career, your financial life, maybe a friend or someone who you know tells you that there is a job opening with a really, really good paying job somewhere, but to get there is very difficult, but that friend has friends in high places and they can do it for you and they're willing to do it for you. But, morally it would be a little bit unfair, because you can imagine that there are other candidates who might need it, let's say even more desperately than you. You never know. But you have to accept, say yes, okay, put in the good word for me, and then immediately start your job and just be happy with it. Or, there are so very many other ways in which this 10 of coins can actually play out. It can also mean some kind of inheritance, or it can also mean a massive gift coming from within the family. Maybe you have some very wealthy family members who you had a very cold relationship with, and all of a sudden they just want, well, here, I bought this house for you, or whatever, something really, really big, and I just wanna make our situation, make our connection become like real family, because you're really important to me, and all you have to say is accept, say yes, and there it is. So however this plays out for you and your situation, it is fated, it is a massive good fortune, but one which you would totally oppose, because either your idealism or morality or whatever, but the universe will kind of force you to take it. And after you do, you will all of a sudden wake up to the fact that this is so much better and easier than you could have ever dreamed of. So you'll be really, really appreciative and grateful. But as I said earlier, it has to get worse before it gets better. So in July, first of all, you might find yourself like absolutely, totally out of options and desperate. And only then will the saving grace, in form of this compromise which you really, really would oppose, enter your life and then say yes. This security, this safety begins in July, but it will be a work in process which will get better and better and better, and you'll feel more powerful, more in control, more appreciative and grateful for how everything played out until October, November. So that is when you'll actually start truly living it and having it and owning it. And that is exactly why at the beginning I said that July could be a little bit bittersweet, but I do suggest that you actually look at the benefits here, because the most important part of this is that you have been battling, almost fist fighting with fate for so long, that if that ends, then everything in your life will become sweeter. So, just go with the flow. Thank you so much for listening. I do hope that you found this helpful. I wish you all the best and may good fortune shine upon you. Until next time, bye for now. Hello everyone who has chosen the second pile. Your cards are the Tower, the World, the 10 of coins, and the 4 of wands reversed. Now this is a really almost extreme karmic energy. It is a little bit similar to pile 1 in the sense that it's like a coin with two sides. It's both bitter, perhaps extremely bitter from a certain perspective, but at the same time, it can be almost as sweet as you like it to. Now let's go into the details. The very first card is the Tower, and I do believe that anyone listening to this reading kind of knows what the Tower means. But of course, in your situation, It might be upheaval, it might be something sudden, it might be disruptive, it might be even a massive, massive loss, but that loss, that unpleasant event, regardless if it's like something external, it can also be something just internal, which you guys do with your own hands, that will actually produce an external chaos, instability, upheaval, a termination. Yet almost immediately it will lead to something that you guys have been looking for a lot of years. And this is something which actually stems from childhood. Now, the World card is the representation of Saturn. So this is basically the resolution. This is basically the final judgment of fate and karma. And the Ten of Coins also represents the completion of a big cycle. And both of these cards have to do with some kind of material element to them. But this isn't necessarily just money. This isn't just like a career or a job. Something totally external, but rather your philosophy, your worldview, your perception, your unique take on this area of life. Now, first of all, both the World card and the Ten of Coins do depict the past as well, where you had a lot of work behind of you. A lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of time, a lot of study, a lot of, they say that repetition is the key to mastery, and that is something that you have done over and over again. It might also be the case that you have tried in so very many different ways, so many different approaches to build the kind of life for yourself which supports in a perfect way your ideals, your principles, the way you want to live life, the way it's not just comfortable for you, but rather it lets you do the things that you want for other people. I do sense that a lot of you guys have had one or maybe more very, very big humanitarian causes linked directly to the work that you have chosen. For some people, this represented study, higher education, starting a career, volunteering for a lot of years. For other people, it represented maybe a business they wanted to grow. For other people, this can represent that they really try to create either a business, a company, or them going kind of freelance or an independent professional, where their activities, whatever they do, can be a really inspirational force in their local communities. So it wasn't really about personal profit. Of course, that is part of the deal. It has to, you have to survive. But besides the profit, what the company or you or your goal does is to inspire the community, inspire young people. The Ten of Coins, it can be like protecting nature or teaching people how to be self-sufficient. It can be a charity, humanitarian causes. Like something that just popped into my mind straight away. Maybe some of you guys really, really wanted to create a shelter for single moms or for moms with children who are in danger. So anyway, the secondary goal of the business was something really, really like charitable, the most noble thing anyone could possibly imagine. And you really, really worked towards it, tried it in so very many different ways, either like business or trying to be part of something. Or for other people, it was almost as simple as, through manifestation, through metaphysical means, to become a rich person or to gain a lot of material influence, and not necessarily for your own comfort or whatever. Not at all, quite the contrary, so that you could support this very, very noble cause. And regardless of how this played out in your life, this was a core principle, this was like a core motivational factor, almost like an unconscious program which motivated you to do so very many different things. Try so very many different approaches to this. And of course, there you also had successes. It's not like it was like a fool's errand. Neither was it like Don Quixote fighting the windmills, because you did important things in your life. Maybe if not materially, maybe if you couldn't, like donate or create a charity, your simple presence in the life of certain people or in a community or at a place of work really did already serve your purpose, just that you might have had this very strong ideal and you just were blind to the fact that you wouldn't need money or anything just to be yourself, and that's already enough. But anyway, this is where the tower moment comes in, because I do believe that you already abandoned the idealism, you already abandoned the big dreams, you already kind of saw the true colors of the world, where, maybe you realize that every charity is a little bit of a con. You might have realized that money is really not the key. You might have also realized that even if you invested a lot of time and effort in your studies, maybe higher education, apprenticeship or whatever, that is just the worldly way of going about things, and one way or another that will always lead you to slavery, in a very symbolic sense, of course. So being a highly skilled and influential professional is not as joyful or rewarding as you initially thought. So this moment of big disillusion already took place, and I do believe that when this kind of took place over the course of the past 2 or 3 years, and you already accepted it, you already kind of reshaped your life, you reshaped your personality, you healed the traumas, and of course you confronted with all those traumatic events which happened in your childhood that led you to have those big dreams and goals, because those source from a deep childhood wound. When you wanted to help other people, you saw the victim, which you were yourself in the others, in the vulnerable people. But as I said, you've already done this work, you completed this, you abandoned the ideals, the big passionate goals, so to speak, and you really, really try to focus on yourself. You really try to live your life in actually lives and fates terms, if this makes sense. But the problem is, the psychological healing work that you have done, that was completed and that really did miracles for you in more ways than one, including materially. But the problem is that it was almost like just an improvisation. It was like a temporary fix. Because, you kind of waited for fate to come in and just give you that fresh and new start to be free in your life. Because I do see that is what you're looking for. That is your new goal. That is your new purpose. You just want to be free. And you just really want to live life for what it truly is. The experience. To be able to have the possibility to just go out there and gaze at the beauty of a flower even for 10 hours if you so much wish. To study whatever it is that really delights your heart and your intellectual sphere without obligations and sacrifices. In other words, just to live life in all of its simplicity, that basically opens the door to its true complexity, but from within, what life means for you as a being personally, and not a being who lives in this big world full of, connections and people and internet and purposes and other elements which have nothing to do with the experience of life in the terms which you seek. So, because you know this, because this is your true desire right now, in the month of July the Tower is striking. It may be a little bit unsettling because it will take away your improvised solution, whatever gives you stability, whatever gives you means of survival right now, whatever you have been working towards the past 3 or 2 years. Yet immediately it will open the door to the World card, the karmic completion, that which you truly wished out of the purity of your soul is what you're gonna get. One way or another, you will get into the position to live the life, that which you truly desire, that simple but really beautiful and intense life, free from, the goals and wishes of other people, free from careers and complicated stuff. Just embracing life for what it truly is. But of course there is a hidden catch. This 4 of Wands might require you to have to leave the place where you live. This can be a home, this can be a house, this can be your family home, this can be, for example, your town, your city, for some people even their country. And this might be a little bit tricky emotionally, because for some people this might also represent the termination of a relationship. But this isn't where the relationship is doomy and gloomy and painful. The relationship is quite okay, but because this might be like a divinely orchestrated opportunity for you, both you and that other member of the relationship will just know that this will be the right thing. So there won't be hard feelings in the sense of conflict and regrets and stuff. Of course it won't be easy and it might be tearful, but it will be the right thing to do. And this 10 of coins, well, it means true future stability. So where you're going is not random, it is not uncertain, it is not let's just try it, it is not even a new beginning in the sense of let's take a leap of faith and see where it guides us. No, it will be exactly where you belong. You will feel it on the soul level that it is where your soul is being called. And as I said, it can mean anything from a job, from a company, from a group of people, or maybe an opportunity to live and work in nature, maybe in a farm. Or for some people it can be like something very fortunate, because the World card combined with the 10 of coins, it can mean a massive benefit, financial power which just falls into your lap. And that tower, well, you don't see it coming. You would not even suspect. It might be that you kind of feel the calm before the storm and the rumbling of thunder, symbolically speaking, but you might not suspect the intensity. And even though the month of July is just more of the tower moment than anything else, that is not necessarily a bad thing, because the tower moment is revelatory. You will know what awaits you for certain. You will know the dates, you will know clearly what you have to give up on and what you have to do to get where you need to be. So knowing everything that you need to know is already almost like having it. But even if this is like ultimately a fortunate thing and it's really good for you personally, it can feel a little bit bitter at first, because it's shocking, it's uncomfortable, and you do have to give up what you built, what you did, and everything that you worked on the past 2 or 3 years, and that is not always very, very easy, regardless of how advantageous what takes its place is. And if you are in a relationship, and it will also affect your relationship, and as I said, I really don't see this as hard feelings, I really don't see this as conflict and fight, but rather quite the opposite. Both of you will know that this is the right thing. That still doesn't mean that it's very easy. So this is what I see for July for you guys, those who have chosen the second pile. I do hope that you found it useful and that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, bye for now. Hi everyone who have chosen the third pile. Your cards are the World, the Six of Coins, the Moon, and the Eight of Cups. Now this is a very, very strong karmic and emotional energy. And ironically, I don't even know if it matters which of the three piles you have chosen, because all three of them are so very similar in the sense that it is karmic and it has to come as a completion. So you guys in the third pile are no exception, just that what makes your pile a little bit, let's say, different is that it is extremely urgent, like you really, really, really need it. And when I say need it, like even your life, your physical life depends on it. And on the other hand, this is a very strong unconscious energy where your soul just demands this from the universe, from fate, from karma. You do feel really, really, how should I even explain this? Maybe forgotten or neglected, or I'm not even sure, not heard or understood by the divine itself. So this has also so much to do with your faith. And by this, I don't really mean in a religious way, not even in a very spiritualized way, but rather it is the divine's honor, the divine's fairness and moral integrity, if this makes sense, perceived by you and your soul. Like, I'm not even sure how to explain this better. All of us know that regardless of what the highest spiritual philosophies and sacred texts and whatever say, we just know, because we're living it, that sometimes life and fate and destiny and all of that is not very fair, and karma is no exception. I really think that so many of us can find like a multitude of examples in our everyday lives where like bad karma is instant and good karma sometimes it's forgotten. And I do believe that you guys were very understanding, very patient, very open to, the mysterious ways of the universe. There is a little bit of good in everything, bad, there is a reason in everything, etc. But you might have reached to the breaking point where you said, well, look, I cannot live like this anymore. I kind of need my peace, and I do believe that that is the key factor. It might have a lot of material elements to it. Six of Coins. Coins is earth energy. But it's not the sum or the matter, basically the money or whatever that means, that really matters, but it's your peace, the Moon card. It is how your soul feels at comfort, how your soul, it's not even about happiness, it's not even about great satisfaction or, being zen and just loving life. It's really about peace. It's about just being able to rest on a soul level, if this makes sense. And at the same time, this restlessness, whatever is troubling you, whatever you feel that the universe was unfair towards you with, this might be going on for a long time now, no problem with that. But it got so very acute and intolerable ever since the global turmoil began. You know, the world card, very many times it literally means the world, as in the times that we live in, how the world is, the planet, human society, other people, everything around us. So ever since that began, it was like rubbing salt in the wound, and not necessarily because of any specific reason. It was just like your soul became so very restless and anxious that you might not really have a very peaceful sleep. I'm not saying that it's insomnia or sleep disturbance, but your soul doesn't rest, and you know that. And there is a side where you know your karma, you know your fate, you know your destiny. You're an extremely intelligent and spiritually open person, so you understand everything, why it happened the way it happened, childhood, this and that, so very many different areas of life. You have total understanding and acceptance, so it's not really about the big picture of life and your existence. It's actually about the present. You need help. You need a change, you need something to give you peace, whatever that may be right now, and you cannot tolerate it no longer. So this is almost like your plea, your soul's desperate cry for help to receive anything to give you peace and inner serenity. You have everything what it takes inside of you. As in, you are a person who really knows in the best possible and the most expert ways what self-care is and how to regenerate, how to heal, how to take care of yourself. But there is something in your life which needs to disappear urgently. And this is exactly the symbolism of the Ten of Cups. You would like nothing more than to walk away, leave, or terminate, or just whatever it is really bothering you. May that be, for example, for some people, it can be a job that you just cannot quit. It can be a person who doesn't want to disappear from your life. It could be a relationship which goes inside, up and down, and you just want it to end one way or another. It can be a living situation. It can be, for some people, a physical condition which just doesn't want to get better, or it gets better and you think it's over, then it gets worse, and this goes on and on and on, and you already had enough. So whatever is the cause of that soul level restlessness, well, that is what's gonna be ending in your life. And while I really genuinely see that your prayer or whatever you're desperately asking the universe, even if you're not doing it like consciously, your soul is still asking for help. So whatever you're asking is definitely going to be granted. You know, the Six of Coins is the card of giving, generosity, donation. The universe is self-explanatory. The universe of fate, the divine. And it also in itself represents completion, culmination, things coming to fruition basically. And the moon is your soul and the emotional world, and it's in upright position, so basically it's not about your fears or anything. You already faced your fears, you just know everything that you need to know. You just need the waters of your soul to be still and to reflect the gentle moonlight, as in to have your own serenity. And the Ten of Cups, you have everything that you, understanding, healing, self-love, patience, you name whatever it is, to walk away gracefully, to just fly away like a butterfly from the problems. But all you need is something to come together for you, and you're desperately asking the universe to finally deliver it, do it, because on one hand, whatever is disturbing you might be in your life ever since the COVID, as I said, the global turmoil started. And at the same time, like, you might not have been the only person who had problems, especially, karmic themes in their lives, purging out and stuff like that. So you actually either have friends or know a lot of people who were in the same situation, and some of them actually received miraculous help. So, you feel so very left out, heartbroken, abandoned, almost mocked, if this makes sense, by the universe, by the divine itself. Because if everyone else actually ended up being more than okay, like, what about you? And truth be told, it would not be your turn in July. And the reason for this is nothing other than you don't know how strong you are. Like, you have such a really powerful, self-caring energy. Maybe you have a lot of planets in Cancer or in your 4th house, but you're infinitely strong and self-sufficient. So that's why, symbolically speaking, you're not in the priority list. Because, in actual reality, you are actually that strong, that resilient, believe it or not. But because it's too much for you right now, this is how you actually attracted the help already. This is how you actually, symbolically speaking again, of course, you jumped up in the priority list almost to the top. So it's coming. The help that you need, the help that you asked for is actually coming. And I know right now you find it so very hard to believe this, but in the month of July, you are actually walking away whatever it is that unsettles you or bothers you. And even though your life may not yet be so very complete and full, but you will have your peace. And that is what's gonna really, really feel like. When you walk on a really sunny, hot summer day, and it's so very hot that you genuinely feel like you're in an oven boiling, and someone hands you a small glass of ice cold water, even though it might not be enough to quench all your thirst, but it is definitely like a saving grace. So basically that's how July is gonna feel for you. And also, chances are you might not have to wait that very long, because the predominant energy is the 8 of Cups, which means licking your wounds, enjoying what you were given, escapism, detachment, living in your dreams. So basically really not being down on earth. But that is how, soul level peace begins, and that's what someone does with it ultimately. It's a really good sign that it's really coming, and you will be able to just feel at peace, feel unburdened, unirritated, unagitated, unstirred up by whatever you are leaving behind. So this concludes your reading. Thank you so much for listening. I do hope that you enjoyed it and you found it useful. Until next time, bye for now.